Armenia is a country often associated with ancient monasteries, rugged mountains, and a history that stretches back thousands of years. But today, a very different story is being written in its capital, Yerevan. A story of code, startups, and innovation. In a place better known for survival in the crossroads of empires, a new generation is asking, can Armenia transform itself into the Silicon Valley of the Caucasus? To answer this, we need to travel back in time and understand how technology and knowledge have always been part of Armenian culture. From the invention of the Armenian alphabet by Mesrop Mashdots in the 5th century, to the preservation of manuscripts in medieval monasteries, Armenians have long placed a deep emphasis on learning. This tradition of valuing knowledge may be one of the strongest foundations of Armenia's modern tech boom. Fast forward to the Soviet era. Armenia, though small, became a scientific powerhouse in the Soviet Union. It was home to major research centers, particularly in physics, computer science, and engineering. The Yerevan Physics Institute, for instance, was world-renowned. Soviet Armenia developed radar technology, computing systems, and even made key contributions to space research. While much of this expertise was tied to the Soviet military-industrial complex, it built a culture of scientific excellence that has not been forgotten. When Armenia became independent in 1991, the country entered a very difficult period. The collapse of the Soviet system, a devastating earthquake in 1988, and war over Nagorno-Karabakh left the economy in ruins. Many scientists and engineers emigrated, seeking stability abroad. Yet those who stayed began to lay the groundwork for Armenia's modern IT sector. The country may have been small and landlocked, but it had brains. And those brains were ready to build. By the 2000s, Armenia's tech scene started to gain momentum. The government recognized IT as a priority sector for economic growth. Tax incentives were introduced, and partnerships with the diaspora were encouraged. This was crucial. The Armenian diaspora, spread across Russia, the United States, France, and beyond, began investing in Armenia's knowledge economy. Companies like Synopsys, a major American semiconductor design firm, opened large offices in Yerevan. Today, Synopsys Armenia is one of the biggest R&D centers in the region. But the real spark came from startups. Armenians, with limited natural resources, but an abundance of human talent, began to realize that technology was their best chance for growth. Startups like PicsArt, founded in 2011, exploded onto the global stage. PicsArt, a photo and video editing app, became one of the most downloaded creative platforms in the world, with hundreds of millions of users. For many around the globe, their first interaction with Armenian tech was through PicsArt on their phones. Another success story is Krisp, a company that uses AI to remove background noise from calls. Launched in Armenia, it quickly caught international attention, especially during the pandemic, when remote work became the norm. Krisp raised millions in funding and proved that Armenian startups could compete globally in cutting-edge fields like artificial intelligence. What makes Armenia particularly interesting is that it is not just about one or two unicorns. A whole ecosystem is forming. Yerevan now has tech hubs, incubators, and co-working spaces, buzzing with young entrepreneurs. TUMO Center for Creative Technologies, founded in 2011, is a shining example. It's not just a school, it's a free, after-school learning center where teenagers gain skills in design, animation, programming, and robotics. With branches in Armenia and abroad, TUMO has been called one of the most innovative educational programs in the world. It represents a vision of preparing the next generation of Armenians not just to consume technology, but to create it. Of course, challenges remain. Armenia is a small country of under 3 million people. The local market is tiny, which means Armenian startups have to think globally from day one. This can be both a challenge and an advantage. While they cannot rely on domestic demand, they are forced to design products that can succeed internationally. In some ways, being small forces Armenia to think big. Another challenge is geopolitics. Armenia is landlocked and has closed borders with Turkey and Azerbaijan. Its only open borders are with Georgia and Iran, which limits trade routes. Political instability, including the war in Nagorno-Karabakh, has also created uncertainty. Some investors worry about security risks. Yet at the same time, Armenia's resilience has become part of its brand. The message is clear. If Armenia can build startups under these conditions, imagine what they could achieve in peace. The government continues to play a role in supporting tech. Special tax breaks exist for IT startups, and there are efforts to attract foreign investment. Armenia is also investing in education, not just through TUMO, but also through universities and partnerships with international institutions. The diaspora remains a powerful force, with many Armenians abroad sending capital, expertise, and mentorship back home. In Silicon Valley itself, there is a strong Armenian presence, and many of those entrepreneurs are now looking to Armenia as a place to invest and give back. One fascinating aspect of Armenia's tech boom is how it combines tradition with innovation. In a sense, the same culture that once carved monasteries into cliffs and preserved knowledge through centuries of hardship is now coding apps and building AI algorithms. The Armenian spirit of survival is transforming into a spirit of creation. So, can Armenia really become the Silicon Valley of the Caucasus? The answer may depend on how you define Silicon Valley. If it means a global hub of innovation with billion-dollar startups and international recognition, Armenia is already on its way. PicsArt, Krisp, and others prove that. If it means becoming a regional center for IT and education, Armenia is arguably already there, leading the South Caucasus in tech development. But if it means recreating the scale and wealth of California's Silicon Valley, that may be more difficult. Armenia's population, geography, and political situation set natural limits. What is clear is that Armenia is carving out its own identity as a tech nation. It does not need to be Silicon Valley, it can be something unique, a small country with a global impact, where innovation is born from resilience. In the decades ahead, technology may be the key to Armenia's survival and prosperity. And as with all stories of nations, it's important to remind viewers to research for themselves. Armenia's tech boom is inspiring, but it is also complex, shaped by history, politics, and global markets. What is certain is that Armenia is not just a land of mountains and monasteries. It is also a land of ideas, startups, and young minds determined to code their way into the future. Thanks for watching. How do you think this will play out?